We have the tonight we have the honor and pleasure of having Rebecca Spencer, who is the Riverside County Registrar of Voters, as our speaker tonight. She is a graduate of my alma mater, UC Riverside, and she earned her master's degree there from there also. She's been with the Registrar of Voters for Riverside County since 1999 when she was a student intern, which should kind of tell people sometimes. Those internships when you go to school can be kind of neat. She was appointed as the Registrar of Voters in 2014. So that means she's like incredibly experienced at this time. And what I find interesting is that she administers the elections for over 1,200,000 voters in the county. That's quite a bit. I was just reading something about Alpine County, and I don't even think they've got 1,000 people. This is a lady that is taking care of 1.2 million voters in one county. So with that, Ms. Spencer, thank you so much for joining our group tonight, and you have the floor.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction. I'm Rebecca Spencer. I'm the Registrar of Voters for Riverside County. And actually right now we're at over 1.3 million registered voters. So we always see an increase in voter registration right before statewide elections. So yeah, we're up about 1.3, a little over 1.3 million registered voters. Just to, talk a little bit about tomorrow's election. This is the first election that we have officially adopted the California Voters' Choice Act. The November 2020 and the September 2021 recall elections, we conducted them. They were conducted very similarly to the California's Voters' Choice Act. But in December 2021, the Board of Supervisors gave us the approval and go ahead to move forward with officially implementing the Voters' Choice Act for this June election. And so what that means to voters is we no longer have polling places, we have vote centers. So we mail out ballots to all active registered voters. Approximately 29 days before the election is when we mail those ballots out. And then voters have the opportunity to return those ballots to a ballot drop-off location, or they can mail them back. They receive a postage paid return envelope to mail it back to us. We have 87 ballot drop-off locations that have been opened since May 9th. Or they could go to our vote centers. We have 145 vote centers. If they choose not to use their vote by mail ballot, they could also vote in person at one of those vote centers. Let's see, we had 26 vote centers open up last 2 Saturdays ago, May 28th. There were 26 locations that opened up for in-person voting or for ballot drop-off. And then this previous Saturday, the 4th, we had an additional 119 locations open up. So for a total of 145 vote centers that have been open since this past Saturday. They'll be open tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Vote by mail voters, we also have a postmark law. So vote by mail voters can, as long as it's postmarked on or before election day and received within 7 days after election day, it's still considered timely. We also have conditional voter registration at our vote centers. So if there are any voters who moved and didn't get re-registered or have not are brand new to the county and have not registered at all, they can still participate in this election. They would go to any vote center and fill out a voter registration card and vote a provisional ballot at the vote center. So there's still plenty of opportunities to cast a ballot. We are seeing that turnout is rather low. So we've mailed out 1.3 million ballots, and as of today, we have about 190,000 returned. So that's about 15% turnout right there. we know that tomorrow's mail will receive a lot in tomorrow's mail, and that we will also have a lot of vote by mail ballots dropped off at locations at the vote centers tomorrow, as well as the in-person voting. So we know that number will go up, but we would like to see it higher. For comparison, in the June 2018 election, we had about a 35% turnout once we certified the election, and in the September recall, we had about a 55% turnout. So right now, it's trending similar to the June 2018 election, where once we get all ballots accounted for, including provisional ballots, it may be around a 35% turnout. Let's see. We will release the first results tomorrow, shortly after 8 o'clock. That will be all the vote by mail ballots that were received through today. We'll release those results on our website. At that point, we then transition to receiving in all the in-person ballots from the vote centers. So we'll provide hourly updates, 9, 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow. As the vote centers, as all 145 vote centers go through their closing procedures and report back here to our office. We'll be scanning those ballots and getting updates posted throughout the night until all 145 locations are in, and then that will be it for the night. And then we will go home, get a few hours of sleep, and then come back bright and early Wednesday morning and start signature verifying all of the vote by mail ballots that are dropped off tomorrow, and we'll do another update at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. So we'll do following election night, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday around 6 p.m. We'll continue to do updates as we process the postmarked ballots and the ballots that were dropped off on election day. We have a number of things that have to take place after election day. We have to accept the postmarked ballots through next Tuesday. We also have to send out notices to any voters who forgot to sign their ballot. So if anybody comes in and drops off their ballot tomorrow, or puts it in the mail tomorrow and gets it postmarked, but they forgot to sign it, we have to give them the opportunity to correct that. So we go through all the envelopes and look and send out unsigned ballot statements, so voters can return that form to us. We also do all of our signature verification if any are challenged because their signature on their envelope does not match the signature on their voter registration form. We have to send them a signature verification statement to correct that. So that's done after election day as well. And then the last step is the provisional ballots. After we've finished processing all of the vote by mail ballots, we will do the provisional ballots. We also have to do a 1% manual tally. So we do a random drawing of precincts on Thursday. We select 1% of the precincts at random. We roll dice to select those precincts, and then we go pull those precinct boxes and hand count those ballots to make sure it matches the computer, the electronic tally of the ballots. All those things have to take place before we will certify the election. So it's looking like because we do have to allow for the unsigned ballot statements and the signature verification statements, it'll probably be towards the end of June before we're officially able to certify the results. And then after that, we will start preparing for the November election. So most of the voter nominated offices are top 2. So we'll get the official results for the statewide contest from the Secretary of State, start moving forward with the top 2 candidates, and then start working with all the local jurisdictions, the cities, the school districts, the special districts, opening up their nomination period in July, and start working on the ballots for the November election. So I know that's kind of in a nutshell what's been going on here at our office. And I don't know, Jerry, if you had anything else that you wanted me to cover, or if we were just going to do questions and answers.
I heard something about different kinds of monitor positions or something to that effect. Is that something additional now or the same as before?
Monitor?
Yeah, monitors for polling places, or they're going to be are they
So
paying for them?
there is, we hire about 900 temporary employees. About half of those are here in our office, doing everything from voter registration card, processing voter registration cards, signature verification, opening phones. The other half are out at our 145 vote centers. So they go that we have two co-leads at each location that go through what we call an election academy. They started at the beginning of May and go through extensive training here in our office on how to set up a vote center, how to process voters, how to run all the equipment. And then they go out to the vote centers and actually run their vote centers. And on top of that, we hire, so that's about 900 temporary employees. On top of that, we hire about 1,500 poll workers or election officer volunteers to also work at those vote centers, and they go through a 2-hour Zoom training to work at the vote centers. And they the two leads that went through the academy take are the supervisors of the sites, and then they're supplemented with all of our volunteers, poll worker volunteers.
I think I'll ask the first question. You've been with that office now for over 2 decades. Would you mind kind of saying how you feel the faith and support in the office has been over these 2 decades, and the change, if there has been any, and has it been more difficult lately?
That's a good question. I mean, this job is always difficult, but yes, I would say that it has definitely gotten more challenging over the last probably 4 to 6 years. Back in the early 2000s, so I started in this office in 1999 as a student intern, and worked my way up as positions became available. Back in the early 2000s, a lot of back then we were all electronic voting, so there was still questions about fraud, and black box voting is what it was referred to back then. So I've kind of been through this same type of cycle, but it's getting more personal, I would say, this time, where people are calling me a criminal, and I'm being threatened. So that's the difference. So like I said, I've been through the fraud conspiracies many times before. Back in the early 2000s, we were all electronic, everything was decertified, and had to have a voter verified paper audit trail. And I think that was about 2005. And so we had to go back, and we ended up spending about $30 million on all new voting equipment. This latest round, like the main difference that I see is it's becoming much more personal and much more attacks on me and my staff, and poll workers, where it's just a lot more hostile.
Someone can ask you a question. I'm just going to make a comment. It's really sad to hear, and we support you. I support you anyway. I think you're doing a great job, and hang in there. That's all I can say.
Yeah, thank you. But for me, it comes to a certain extent, it comes with the territory, and you have to have some thick skin. But it really bothers me when they go after my staff or after the poll workers who are volunteers, and it's hard enough to get citizen volunteers to assist with this process. And when they start feeling uncomfortable and getting yelled at, just for trying to help voters at their vote center, that's concerning. Let's see, and I see there's some hands raised. I see Francis Anderson.
Yes, it's not so much a question. I think you guys have done a really good job of letting people know about the changes. I know I've gotten several cards in the mail, saying, we got vote centers and things like that. And I appreciate the fact that those are going out. And it's just a card, so people don't have to open it up. And I thank you for making sure that voters are getting that information.
Great. Yes, we did. As part of the Voters' Choice Act, and there's a bunch of education and outreach that's required, and the state did give us $300,000 in funds for outreach. So we did do a lot of increase on with both direct mailers and paid advertising, through whether it be through radio, digital, or television as well. So yeah, we really tried to get the word out that there was a change coming. It just unfortunately doesn't seem like a lot of people are interested in voting for this election. I also see Charles Reuter. Hi, Chuck.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I wanna ask you something. I voted very early, and how can I tell if my vote's been counted?
Great question. So we have a link on our website. We use the Secretary of State's vote tracking service, which is called Ballot Tracks. So if you go on our website at the towards the bottom of our homepage, it says, "Where's my ballot?" If you click on that link, you'll have to sign up for the service. You have to provide your personal information, and then you will get a text message or email, depending on what you choose, when your ballot is received in our office and signature verified and accepted.
Thank you.
No
I felt
problem.
that was a great system. I got notified that my ballot had been received. And then I always worry, I can never remember, I'm a junior. And do I have that on my license? Do I have whatever else? And then it tells me that your ballot was counted. And those were, I believe, with emails. Once again, excellent system.
Great. Let's see, I also see Brian Nash has his hand raised.
Yeah, just two things. One, I just want to say thank you guys for the work that you're doing. I know that things are super, super challenging right now, and I just want you to know, for what it's worth, you guys all have my respect. It's a difficult job. I just have a nerd question for you. So obviously you've kind of mentioned how this turnout so far kind of compares to other primaries.
Mm-hmm.
I would venture to guess you probably had some sort of forecasting prior to this. Is this falling in line with what you were expecting this to look like? Is this lower than you expected?
Probably a little lower. I mean, I think we're hoping to get to 35% turnout. That's what we were in June 2018. So the last 4-year election cycle, comparable election cycle, it was 35%. So I'm hoping that's where that we get there. But looking at the foot traffic at the vote centers, both the 11-day vote centers and the 4-day vote centers, there has not been a lot of people voting in person.
Any thoughts on that? Like
just anecdotally, but I get the comments I get from voters is that they're tired of voting. They're burnout from they're burnout from they're burnout from politics in general. From stemming from 2020 through the recall, they're just kind of burnout, and a lot of people just think, oh, I'll wait till November, not realizing that there are contests that can be decided in June.
Yeah.
it's unfortunate,
Yeah, that's the general anecdotal comments that we get is burnout.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I also see Allison.
Yes, I just wanted to thank you as well. Thank you for all the work that you do. We're trying to get the college age kids to vote. My son's in college. I have all of his friends, not all of his friends, but a lot of his friends' numbers, and I'm texting them, and it was really difficult this year because it's right around the end of school and they've got so much going on. So my question was, if they so they go to school in San Diego, if they were to come and pick up their ballot and then fill it out back at school, the postmark works even if they mail it in San Diego, right? It doesn't have to be within Riverside County postmark. It can be postmarked from anywhere.
That's correct.
Okay.
And even if they dropped it off at a vote center in San Diego, it's under California
What?
law, we have to forward it.
I
But
didn't know
but
that.
that's only if it's a vote by mail that they drop off. Let's say they went and voted provisionally, that wouldn't get forwarded. That wouldn't count. But if it's their vote by mail ballot that they received from their county of residence and they drop it off anywhere at any polling place or vote center in the state, we all go through those and sort them out and forward them on to the counties within 8 days after the election.
That is really good to know. Thank you for that detail.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Let's see, any other? Let's see, Terry Connolly.
Yeah, hi. Ditto that. Thank you very, very much, Rebecca, for all your hard work and also for coming to our club and explaining this. Is there a way to, because you said two things. Number one, you said people are burned out, but also you said they don't realize that some of the races are decided this time around instead of wait and you know, some of those people just want to wait until November. Where is a source that we can find out which ones are definitely that they're important to vote this time around, that we can publicize even by tomorrow, to get on our emails and to Facebook and our Twitter and all our followers?
That's a good question. And I don't know that there's a single place to get that information. I could tell you right now. But so the county Office of Education trustee areas, I think there's only one trustee area. I don't know that's actually on the ballot. That one won't be on June. The top vote getter for this election will take office.
You mean won't be in November?
I mean, yeah, in November. Excuse me. Yes. So
Okay.
that one for sure. It's a Riverside County Board of Education. They had one trustee area that had enough candidates to go on this June ballot, and that one will be decided this June. But the other potential offices are sheriff. That's a 50% plus one. So if the sheriff wins by, or if any candidate wins by 50% plus one, they do not it does not go to the November election. So same thing with district attorney, county auditor, the judicial seats. There's 4 different judicial seats. All of those are nonpartisan offices. So they are 50% plus one. If a candidate does not win by 50% plus one, then the top 2 go to a runoff in November. All the other offices, all the voter nominated statewide offices, so governor, United States Senator, Congress, state assembly, those are all considered voter nominated offices. Those are top 2 contests, and so they go the top 2 go on to November. So
Okay.
it's somewhat explained in the county voter information guide, and the state voter information guide explains what the top 2 primary is, and explains what a voter nominated office is and what a nonpartisan office is. That's where it's pretty much explained, but it's it's legal jargon.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Well, we'd really like to thank you, Rebecca. We're very grateful for what you and your staff, including the temporary staff, we are so grateful for what you guys do, and we really appreciate you.
Great. Thank you so much for having me, and yeah, help spread the word so we can increase this voter turnout.
We'll try. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.